Welcome to Malcolm Reed's How to Barbecue Right, a podcast where we talk about barbecue, share recipes, and discuss all things delicious. And now, here's your host, Malcolm and Rochelle Reed.
Hey, welcome back to the How to Barbecue Right podcast. I'm your host, Malcolm Reed, and we're joined with my lovely wife, Miss Southern Shell. Shell, how's it going?
It's going pretty good.
Having a good day?
Yeah.
Ready to podcast?
Ready to
All right.
podcast.
Hey, we're here. We're actually recording this a day early because of weather. We're thinking it's going to rain, so we didn't get to record videos today.
Normally we film Wednesday, podcast Thursday.
Yeah, we reversed
Flipping
it.
the script today, this week. Yeah.
So I'm good.
And also we're getting out of town a little earlier this week. We're going to be leaving Friday morning
That's
to
right.
head to Melbourne, Arkansas for the SCA Cook.
I talked to Shane over there, who's Townsend Spices, Shane and Lawson, own and run that company, and they're the ones heading up this contest. It's the Townsend Spice and Supply Contest, SCA State Contest. They've got, I think it was 69 entries already, and I don't know if they were letting any more in, if it was too late, but I know if you still want to get in, I imagine you can, because I'm sure they got plenty of steaks, and they've got trout. Shane called me yesterday to tell me about. He was amazed. Everybody's getting fillets of trout, and he said the fish looks fantastic.
Yeah, he did say
So,
they were
yeah.
pretty. So did you even ask him if they're deboned?
I'm sure they are. Yeah, if it's fillets, should be
That's
off the bone.
awesome.
I mean, sometimes trout have those little pin bones you just have to
Yeah.
feel and remove, but that's going to be a fun category there.
What would you do? How would you prepare your trout?
If I've got, man, tell you what, it's hard to beat that.
I already know what you're going to say.
Fried catfish. I'd probably do a fried trout over like a bed of rice, and then do like a shrimp or a crawfish or both etouffee.
Yeah, but you got to have 6
Over the top.
individual portions.
Yeah. Oh, you can't just build a box of that, can
I don't
you?
think
I would
so.
put it in little boats,
You
and you
could
get
put
a
it in
trout
boats.
fillet with a little bit of rice in the bottom of it. I'd make sure that's how I did it.
Yeah. So everybody's going to get like a little teeny piece of filet.
I don't think it'd be teeny. I would try to get as much as I could of one. I'm not talking. It's not a one bite challenge.
Yeah, it's
So
not.
I'm thinking, like, you know how the world's foods, how they give us these little boats,
Yeah.
or the little. I don't know if it has to all. Do they have to all go in the turn-in box
Yes.
at SCA?
Yes, it has to
So
be.
you got to
inside
find
the
6.
turn-
Man, that makes it tough. There, it makes it a lot tougher.
You could put 6 pieces of catfish in there.
You could definitely do that. I
on
could
a
get.
bed with a pepper in the middle with your tartar sauce in
Yeah,
it or something
I would
that.
figure out a way to do that. That's what I would do.
Yeah,
I mean, I think the etouffee sauce just sets it off. It'd be something different.
it would.
Gives it a little bit of a creamy, saucy element that goes with it.
You would just have to do 6 miniature ones.
Yeah,
to figure out how to
figure out
six.
how to do it. I'd
Yeah.
figure out a way to get it in there.
You can use like non-edible garnish in those boxes. You can use.
I thought it had to be edible. Does
You
it?
can use like plates and.
Oh
little
yeah, you can have
little
that,
spoons
yeah,
and things
to have
like
that
that,
thing
yeah.
in there. Yeah,
ribbons or whatever you
I
want.
imagine you'll see a lot of people try to fry or grill it, don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
Little trout sliders probably wouldn't be a bad idea. The fried trout sandwiches, little bitty ones, with like a little slaw and a little tartar sauce on it.
So if you do win the trout contest, it's $500 plus a weekend at the Jack's White River Resort and JoJo's Catfish Wharf. You get a guided trout fishing trip
Yep, on the
then-
White River,
and then 2 nights at the resort.
and then I think a dinner at the steak or catfish house, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a heck of for an ancillary.
That's like
amazing.
$1,000 prize.
If y'all see me up there
Easy.
cooking, mind your business.
You're gonna come in there and cook incognito, Tyler.
Incognito.
Have you ever cooked in a contest before?
I have not.
Like a not one up here, yeah.
Yeah, I would. I don't know. I probably will someday.
Yeah,
Scary.
you should. It's
Steak
fun.
contest is
It's a great place to start.
Yeah.
'Cause it's you don't have to invest in a lot of equipment to cook steaks. Just show up with your grill. Show up
Yeah.
with your Weber.
And the entry fees for this weren't that bad. So
No, what was it? $160 dinner.
something like that, yeah.
I don't think did that include trout. Or to
No,
get-
no,
oh,
it was an
like
extra like 25 or 30
to get in the
something
trout.
bucks for
Yeah.
the trout.
What and the steaks paying out how much
2,500
for the first place steak?
Yeah,
That's why there's going to be 70 teams.
yeah, yeah. And it's a big payout all the way down through the top
Yeah,
10.
to the top 10. No, it's going to be a great time. The weather's actually, I think we're getting a little break in the weather. That summer heat's kind of tampering down a little bit. So it's only going to be in the upper 80s and versus upper 90s, right?
I hope
Did you pull the forecast for Melbourne?
That's what y'all keep telling me, but I hadn't.
Look at it. I was just looking here because I mean I've been kind of watching it here. Just know it's going to be nice and cool. Come on out.
Also, I wanted to talk real quick about our VIPP. It's our very important pig picking.
Oh yeah, in November, right?
November 5th.
Only way to get a ticket. There's only one way.
Help us raise money for the Palmer home.
That's right. Top 5 people that help us raise the most money. You can give a donation yourself. You can start a team. I've seen people doing like a little fundraising cook and donating proceeds.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's really a great idea.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how we used to raise money when we were doing barbecue, events and things or fundraisers.
Yep.
Cook barbecue and then allocate some of those proceeds after cost to the charities. That's a good way to do it.
That's how we paid for our barbecuing for
A lot of years, yeah.
that, and we would host an
Crawfish.
annual crawfish bowl. Yeah.
I need to bring that back sometime if we can
I'm
find a
down.
location.
I'm down.
Just need a good location for it. It's always in the spring. There's always a lot of fun.
But yeah, so that's the very important pig picking, November 5th. It'll be an all day long thing. We're going to be hanging out, cooking a whole hog. We're going to feed you good. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to roll out the red carpet
Here at the shop in
here at
Hernando.
the shop. Come and hang out with all of us, but you can only get a ticket if you help us raise money
That's
for the
right.
Palmer home. And if you want more information on the Palmer home or how to become a fundraiser for this event, go to howtobbqright.com/Palmer, PALMER. There you can find all the links, all the information.
How to set up a drive.
Everything, yeah. So don't want to miss that. George Strait might show up.
Might.
There was a big might there. There's a big asterisk there.
It's probably a no.
Just go ahead.
I might could find somebody named George. How about that? Do you know any Georges?
I know a couple, yeah.
I know a couple Georges. You can get them to come by.
One's a monkey.
Is it? Oh yeah, that's curious. He's pretty curious.
Okay, so this week we did fried catfish.
We did.
Speaking of fried catfish.
Speaking of fried catfish, I want to do something that wasn't barbecue, and catfish is one of my favorite things to cook, and I kind of showed you how to do it. If you're at home and not cooking, this isn't a big catfish fry for, the whole neighborhood or anything. This was like how to do it for dinner. And I used a tabletop fryer that we had bought at Walmart. There's like a little 2-basket deal. You poured peanut oil in it.
It was like a $50 fryer.
It's a bad little dude for 50
It
bucks.
was.
I mean, I'm telling you, it really is. The cleanup's on it a breeze too, because I saved I bought, the bigger jug of peanut oil, not the big Sam's Club, but it was just one you could get at the grocery store.
Yeah.
And save that jug when you pour the oil in it, and I just write Sharpie on it, fish grease. And when I get through cooking, I'll take it and put it through a funnel with a little strainer and pour it right back into that jug. And I'll get several cookings out of it.
Yeah,
'cause
so
I
how
don't
many
use it.
cookings do you get out of that?
Man, I mean, holding it at like 350 to 375, it doesn't burn. It never gets close enough to smoking the oil, so it doesn't get too dark. I mean, you can cook on that thing for 6 months.
What if you cook fries and hush puppies and all that?
Yeah, it doesn't
stuff
phase
with
it. It doesn't phase
That's
it.
fine. You
As
just
long as you
strain
keep it filtered, yeah. And the way I pour it out, a lot of that, kind of crumbs or, batter that comes off of stuff or anything stays in the bottom of it as I pour it kind of slowly through the funnel. So there's really not a lot to strain. It's pretty clear still. As long as you don't get it too hot and just fry it all the time, you can get a bunch of cooks out of it before you need to change it. But I wouldn't recommend like frying chicken or something. If you're not cooking fish, don't use the fish oil.
Why?
Use
It's
it-
gonna taste
yeah,
like
it's gonna have a
fish.
little fishy taste. It just does. It picks it up.
So
So
you
I
like
used-
peanut oil.
Yeah, I always use peanut oil. I mean, it's
Why?
for one, it's got a higher smoke point, so you can take it up to that 375. It's not going to phase it. If it gets up over 400 a little bit, it's still fine. You're not going to get any bad taste in the oil, but it does give fried food a little better flavor than just canola oil or vegetable oil or something like that.
That's what Chick-fil-A uses.
Heck yeah, it's a secret. And for even with people with peanut allergies, I have read that the allergy does not transfer through the oil,
Oh,
so you don't have
really?
to worry about that. Now, I'm not saying go out and get you a
Yeah.
big spoon of peanut
Yeah.
oil.
We are
and
not
eat it,
responsible
but-
for.
Yeah, but that's what I've been told. That's what I've been told. So
Malcolm is not a.
some people are having aversion to it or frying with peanut oil because of allergies, but they say you can't get any allergen from frying something in peanut oil. I mean, I'm no scientist, so
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's what I was told. But I always use it. I always use that for for frying. It makes a better frying. It's a little more expensive. Even when I fry turkeys, I fry them in peanut oil.
You can tell the difference.
You can tell, yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And you have a big, I don't know what
Fish
is it?
cooker.
Bayou fish cooker.
Yeah, I got a Bayou
Classic.
Classic, and I've got another one that's
you got
Cajun
that?
RV Works.
Yeah.
It's like a steel one. So I've got a stainless one and a steel one. One of them's at deer camp. One of them's, I've got it in the garage.
Yeah.
And those are great. If I'm cooking fish for a lot of people, I'm definitely, hooking the propane bottle up and firing that dude up. But it takes, longer to get it. You got to use way more oil. It's not worth it if I'm just cooking a few fillets. Like, I think for this recipe, I bought, you can buy, these were Pride of the Pond catfish fillets. We got, there's several in Mississippi. And I always cook Mississippi pond raised catfish. It's the best tasting. It's
We
clean.
have done some Louisiana pond raised.
Yeah, I have
and it
cooked
was
some Louisiana, and it's good too. But I try to support my Mississippi catfish farmers.
Yeah. We were in a
And-
pinch, and
yeah,
that's all they had.
yeah.
was Louisiana.
But these were Pride of the Pond, and that's a local fish farm down in Tunica, Mississippi, which isn't far from us at all. But another one I like is Simmons catfish, and that was one that was real big that your folks always used was Simmons. And we even see Simmons in the grocery stores here. Like there's a Kroger will have Simmons fillets and nuggets and whole fish a lot of times at Kroger in a box. Usually they're, 4 or 5 pound box froze. Kroger had them on sale the other day when I saw them. But
So
a
can
lot
you
of times I'll go down to Pride of the Pond because it's not too bad and pick it up right there. They sell right, they have like not a wheel call, but it's like a, little sales office where you can go there and buy them fresh from the pond. They're fresh froze. I always buy them froze.
But that's if you're feeding a lot of people.
Yeah.
If you're doing a fish fry.
Right. There's nothing wrong with buying catfish at the grocery store. Just know where it comes from. If you're cooking that, you got to watch it. I don't even know Mississippi if they'll let you call it catfish if it's in the store, unless you say it's from Vietnam or so. You have to, if you
You've
can't
gotta
just
say
put,
where it's
yeah,
from.
yeah.
Well, where would you source catfish if you aren't in Mississippi and aren't really close to this area?
I don't know about Pride of the Pond, but I know Simmons you can buy it from their website and they ship it to you.
They'll ship it.
So I would highly recommend trying that. But most stores sell catfish. You can find some, and you just have to watch it if it's USA catfish or if it's, Vietnamese catfish.
Can you go catfishing?
Yeah,
And catch the catfish,
heck yeah.
clean them.
A lot of people love to do that.
Why don't you?
To me, it's just not as good as pond raised catfish. I know those fish are clean. What they've been eating. Catfish is a bottom feeder. So you got to watch them. And there's some cats that taste better than others, like yellow cats, or flatheads are probably the best tasting. If you can get some of those in the right size, they're awesome. But you take a big old giant blue cat, or, they're not that channel cat. I prefer to eat them, but I like them, in that 1.5 to probably 3 or 4 pound range to make some good catfish if you're catching out of a pond or river or something. But that's I'm a pond raised guy.
You remember we had a friend that everybody called catfish because he was a bottom feeder.
Yeah.
He'd date anybody.
Anybody.
I just thought of that. So how'd you learn how to cook catfish?
Man, I've been cooking catfish as long as I've been able to walk. We always had. If we weren't cooking barbecue, we was frying fish.
Yeah.
So that's just something you grew up doing in the South.
Was it always
It was-
catfish you were frying?
No, we cooked. My family, bluegill, bass, crappie, catfish.
Whatever
it didn't
you
matter.
got.
Yeah, whiting. It didn't matter. Whatever you got. They ate fish. We didn't eat them all the time, but it was, in the summer. My uncles always caught fish. Me and my brother grew up fishing. We were. That's what we did in the summer. We don't eat a lot of fried catfish in the winter, but it seems like
Yeah,
it's summertime.
it's a summer
Yeah.
thing.
But there used to be a ton of catfish houses too. Like there's not many in DeSoto County now. We got one here in Hernando, right outside of Hernando, called Catfish Country. That's pretty good. And several of the restaurants still sell Mississippi pond raised catfish, but you don't see the catfish houses up here as much as you used to. Now you get down South Mississippi, there's still several.
Yeah. Central Mississippi, South Mississippi, it's
Yeah.
a big thing. Could your technique, do you use the same technique for all those fish? Or do you change it up a little bit?
That's pretty much my solid catfish technique. Now, if I'm cooking other fish, I might use a wet batter or something, or different things, or a different kind of fish fry. But when I'm cooking catfish, I want to use cornmeal. I want to season it myself. I want to dry the fillets off really well so the batter doesn't get too thick. I don't like a thick batter. Some people put it in like a marinade and they put their batter on it. It just builds up this layer of crust on the outside. You don't even taste the fish. You're just tasting the marinade and the batter they put on it. I like it to be where you can taste the pond-raised catfish. It's got a really unique, almost buttery flavor to it. It's really, really good. So what I do is I'll get those fillets and thaw them out. Usually I'll let them thaw overnight in the fridge. You can speed thaw fish pretty easy. Like you put it in water, submerge it in water, and
Do you have any worry or about speed? Fish?
No, not really, because it doesn't take that long. Fish thaws super fast. And then I put it out on a wire rack and let it dry a little bit, air dry, and then I'll take paper towels and get the excess moisture off. Then I'll start with, just say if I'm cooking like I did, 5 to 10 fillets that I split up into smaller little strips. And I always do that too. Instead, I don't like a big, huge fillet of catfish. And sometimes you get these catfish fillets that weigh 8-10 ounces. They're just too big. The ends are going to be dry, and they're gonna cook to nothing by the time you get the center of a big thick fillet done. So if you'll take those fillets and cut them up into smaller pieces or smaller strips, and usually there's a line. I like the fillets that are in kind of like, I think they're called 5 to 7s, or it's like 4 to 7s or 5 to 7s. It's kind of a medium sized fish fillet, but you get 2 nice strips off of it when you split it down that center line. That's what I always go for.
I think when they're smaller pieces, they're crispy, like on the edge.
And they're not too thick.
Middle.
You don't get a super thick piece of fish. It's like, it's thin, it's crispy, it cooks even all the way across. That's why I cook that size. They do have some smaller ones, like 2 to 4 ounce fillets, but they're almost too small. If you cook those, you probably do need to cook the whole fillet, but usually I don't buy those. I just want that medium size.
You want the medium size and you want to cut it down the middle.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. And so once you get them dry, I season my batter. I start with about 2 cups of just plain cornmeal from Martha White. Works great. If you want to use yellow, you can use yellow, but usually the one I have is white cornmeal. And I season it up. The same thing I put on the fillets, which is a little salt, pepper, garlic, the AP seasoning, and then a little bit of the King Crawl Cajun seasoning. And I don't go heavy with them. It's just a nice light coating to give it some flavor, to bring out that fish flavor. It accompanies it. And when you mix that with the batter, you keep those same flavors going, and you put a dry fillet in it. I usually just put that in a Ziploc bag, put my fillets in there, kind of do it in batches so they have room to get coated. Shake them around a little bit, shake the excess off in the bag, and then lay them back on a wire rack and let them air dry again. So if you go straight to the grease, you're going to chance your batter staying kind of gummy. It might come off, but if you let it air dry just a little bit, and when I say a little,
so it's air dry bread.
Air dry again.
Air dry again.
And that's, I learned that at Sonic. We used to do that because I had to make onion rings. We had to take turns making onion rings every day. And they always make them and then air dry them and then stick them in the walk-in cooler and let them air dry some more with that air moving in the cooler. And it makes a crispier, not packy breaded onion ring.
Yeah.
So I take that same philosophy and do it with fish fillets. It works.
Makes sense.
So once they dry, you got your oil good and hot. 375 is usually my target. And I do check it. Don't just go by the little cheap fryer's got a dial on it, but I always want to drop a thermometer in it and see what it's at. And then I fry them and don't overcrowd them. I mean, catfish is super easy to fry. You just lay it down in the grease and let it do its thing, and it'll start floating. And then, when you first drop it, you're going to see bubbles, and it's going to be frying like crazy, but it'll slow down. And so those bubbles will stop, and, it'll quit hard frying. The pieces will kind of float to the top. You can kind of shake the basket a little, make sure nothing's kind of sticking, and it'll just kind of come up, and that's when it's done. Usually I would say it takes between 8 and 10 minutes. And, you want to fry it long enough to where it's crispy.
Like
each fry. Yeah, each time. And I'll put, depending on the size of your fryer, like that small one, I only did 2 or 3 strips in each basket each time. So I was cooking, about 6 pieces each time. Let them drain really good. Turn them out on some kind of paper towel or butcher paper, or even another rack. You can stick them on another rack. And usually when I'm frying fish, if I'm frying other stuff, I'll fry everything else first and fry my fish last.
I was going to ask you that. Yeah. If you're doing this whole meal.
If I'm cooking French fries, if I'm cooking hush puppies, all of that, I'm going to have a warm oven inside, just on warm. And then I'm going to have me some sheet pans lined with foil set up and some racks on them. So I'll fry my French fries and hush puppies. You can fry those at the same time in separate baskets. You know, they take various times, but you can get it going, get the process going. Get those on a rack, and in that warm oven, your fries are going to stay crispy. Your hush puppies are going to stay hot. And then fry my fish last so that when we're ready to eat, we pull those out and the fish goes straight to the table. Now, if I'm cooking enough fish to where I got to have, use the oven to keep it warm, do the same thing. Have your rack set up with some sheet pans. As you fry your fish, you can put it on those racks and run it over to the oven, stick it in there. Or have somebody take it, have somebody take it inside for you and bring it back. I mean,
if you're feeding a lot of people, you're just constantly dumping baskets.
You're just constantly dumping them. Yeah, it goes fast. Catfish is one of those things to me. It's best as soon as it comes out of the grease. Yeah. When it's so hot and you break into it and it's steaming and it's almost too hot to eat, that's when it's the best. It's not something you want to eat. I mean,
I love cold catfish.
Don't put it past me to eat a cold piece of catfish. But if I'm going to sit down, I want it hot. I want it fresh right out. And that's when it's really, really good.
When you fry it the way you fry it, and don't let it like steam or and then let it basically, I guess, dry after it's fried. I guess it stays pretty crispy.
It does, and putting it on a rack or putting it on something absorbent to get the grease off. That's why it's important. When you pull it up out of the grease, let it drain really good. Then get it out of the basket, and don't just pile it up on top of each other. Give each piece room to kind of do its thing. That'll keep your breading on it, and it'll keep it crisper. And then when as it cools off, you can kind of move them over and pile them up a little bit. But if you just have it sitting there with the hot grease coming out, it's going to kind of steam in those areas where air can't get around it, and you don't want that. That'll mess your batter all up. It'll mess the crispness up of it.
I mean, I think it's the best when it comes hot out of the grease.
Hot out of the grease, yeah.
But cold, it's just, if it's cooked right, if it was held right, it's just as good.
That's when you got good catfish. If it's seasoned good enough and you can eat it the next day out of the refrigerator, if there's any left over, that's when you cooked it right.
Or you make a sandwich.
And that's how I do it. Yeah, make a catfish sandwich. How do you make your catfish sandwich?
It depends on what I got.
It's two pieces of white bread, some mayonnaise, and some fish.
Yeah,
that's all you need. That. I did. So while we were doing that, I also shot a quick TikTok video of making a catfish sandwich.
So how did you do your catfish sandwich?
So it starts with anytime I'm making catfish, I make homemade tartar sauce too. I think it just goes with it. And that's with any kind of fried seafood. You got to have a good tartar sauce, right?
Yes. You have a lot of good seafood or fish type sauce recipes.
Yeah.
Like you got a champagne minuet that's really good.
I use for shrimp and crab legs.
You got your tartar sauce. How do you make your tartar sauce?
So
you got a remoulade.
The secret is using New Orleans' own Blue Plate mayo. Got to start with Blue Plate. Usually I'll do about 2 cups in a bowl, like a mixing bowl, and then I'll take a jar, just a small jar of dill pickle relish, like you buy if you're just cooking hot dogs. And it's probably, if I had to measure it, I don't. I just take the jar and kind of dump it in a wire mesh strainer.
4 ounces.
So it's half a cup. Yeah, half a cup.
Half a cup. Yeah, half a cup.
Half a cup of dill pickle relish, and I take it, put it in a wire mesh strainer, and use a fork or spoon or something, and move it around to get all. You wouldn't be surprised by how much liquid is in that relish. You don't want your tartar sauce runny. You want it to stay,
thick.
Yeah, you want it to stay thick. So once I get it drained, I dump it in. While that's draining, I'll take about half of a sweet onion and chop it up super fine. I'm talking like the onions McDonald's uses on their hamburgers. The little bitty pieces. That's what you want.
You could food process that, couldn't you?
You could put it in a food processor, definitely. You just have to make sure now, if you put it in a food processor, it's going to bring a lot of moisture out of that onion when you get it fine enough, so you need to strain it too. You don't want any added moisture. And you want about the same amount, a half a cup of finely minced up onion. So put that in the bowl. And then about 2 teaspoons of hot sauce. Now, y'all know I'm using the Killer Hogs hot sauce, but you could use whatever brand you want. It works. I'd probably stay away from like the Mexican style hot sauces. You don't need that.
Or hot.
Yeah. If you want it hot,
you can go hot.
But you don't want to put too much hot sauce. You don't want to turn it orange. It still should have kind of a whitish tone to it. It's tartar sauce. So I put that in there, and then I cut a lemon in half, squeeze it, catch the seeds. So you do put some moisture in there. That's the hot sauce and the lemon juice. That's fine. And then season it with salt and pepper. I usually grab my TX and just give it probably a tablespoon, but you could just use salt and fresh cracked black pepper, whatever you want.
We've used AP.
Something that I do, and I don't think it was in the recipe, was I usually add about 2 teaspoons of sugar to it just to balance it. And when you asked me for that recipe, I was just going off my head. I don't think I gave that to you, but now that I'm thinking about it, I always add a couple teaspoons. You don't have to.
Yeah,
Because if you're watching the carbs on it, don't do that. But the deal is, I don't want my tartar sauce too sweet. That's why I didn't use sweet relish, because sometimes you get tartar sauce and it's just sugary. Yeah. I don't like that. I want it to have that creamy balance with the spices and a little heat, the vinegary notes, the acidity from the lemon, that citrus flavor. That's what you're going for. So you give all that a stir, whip it all up really, really well, put it in a little container with the lid, or put some saran wrap over it, and then stick it in the refrigerator, because it's got to come together. Like, it's not, if you taste it right then, and usually I do taste it to see if I got everything balanced, but it's not going to taste like it will an hour later after it's sitting and those flavors have came together. So that's my basic, if you're cooking anything fried seafood or fried fish, you got to make that tartar sauce. And that's the glue of my fish sandwich. That's what goes back to the fish sandwich.
What kind of bread do you like for the fish sandwich?
Those hoagie sub rolls you can get, like, I don't know what brand they are, Pepperidge Farm or Cobblestone or something like that, but you can see them in the bread aisle.
They're not too big.
It's like a sesame seeded 6-inch sub roll that's split in half, not just the top cut. This is a split in half one. Take those, lightly butter them, stick them under the broiler, toast them a little bit, stick them in a toaster oven, whatever, and put you a nice, base of that tartar sauce on the bottom bun. And then come with I usually do, like, for a fish sandwich, I did shredded lettuce, tomatoes, pickles. You could use coleslaw. It works great, whichever one you do, but that's what I did, right on top of that tartar sauce. Then I put my big piece of fish on it, and usually, a fillet or two, whatever size you can get on there, depending on how big your fillets are. Some pickled red onion goes really good on it, and then more tartar sauce on top bun right on top. That's a fish sandwich. Now, that ain't the square fish sandwich like y'all like from these fast food places. It's, I don't know what kind of fish, probably shark. They tell you it's fresh cod. I don't know if I believe it, but
fish sandwich.
Square. I've never seen a square fish. This is a Mississippi fried catfish sandwich.
Is it kind of a po' boy?
In a way, it's not on a po' boy bread. That'd be the only biggest difference to me. And most time with a po' boy, they don't use tartar sauce a lot of times. They'll put remoulade or either just mayo, blue plate mayo. But try it with tartar sauce. I mean, just take it to another level. The best. And the pickled red onions take it to another level too. That wouldn't be on a po' boy.
I like serving the pickled red onions just as a side to go with the fish.
Always.
Yeah.
You got to do the pickled red onions. There's something about fish, seafood, whatever, and vinegar with it. It just goes. And those pickled red onions are easy to do.
Like fish and chips. They kind of do the same
thing.
They
always give you the malt vinegar to put over it or whatever. Yeah. Same element. Now, pickled red onions are super easy to make. All I do is take a big purple onion, slice it up real thin, in the rings, wring it out. I'll take 1 cup of apple cider vinegar or white vinegar, 1 cup of water.
Apple cider. It gives it a better flavor personally.
Yeah. And then 1 cup of water. Put that in a Pyrex measuring cup that's microwave safe. I go a tablespoon of sugar, a tablespoon of salt. Stick those in there, whisk them up. 3 minutes, stir it, 2 more minutes. It's hot, it's bubbly, everything's incorporated. Put all those onions in a container, a bowl, and then pour that hot vinegar solution right over the top of it and let it hang out. You want to let it sit on the counter because it's too hot to stick right in the fridge immediately because it was boiling. So let it calm down at room temperature for about an hour or so, and then just put your lid on it and stick it in the refrigerator and let it sit. Usually they're better the next day. You can eat them in probably 3 to 4 hours, but I mean, they're going to last up to a week or two. We still got some left over, and that's been a week in the fridge, and we've
been eating them.
Michael loves them. Yeah.
They've been on tacos.
They go great with tacos. That's another thing. And fish tacos with those on them are really good. And you can fry that catfish,
Sandwiches.
Cut it up a little bit, and make fish tacos, and all of a sudden you got catfish tacos.
You have a spicy chicken sandwich recipe or spicy chicken sliders. And you use pickled red onions on that.
They go great with that. Pulled chicken with white sauce and purple red onion makes a heck of a barbecue sandwich.
Even pulled pork.
Pulled pork's great with it.
Heck yeah. Pulled pork tacos with pickled red onions.
Yeah. I'm not really, really big on like putting raw onion on stuff. I guess there's
Yeah.
times and places for a little bit of it on a burger or something, but most of the time, man, this pickled red onions or sauteed is a whole nother ball game.
So there's a whole new barbecue show on the Food Network.
It is Barbecue USA.
Barbecue USA. I did not know about this until a day or two ago.
I haven't been watching regular TV much.
I know. And it's been summer.
But
and
I've seen people
everything.
talk about it online,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of great barbecue friends that have been on it. It's going back to the roots. I think it's
It's a competition.
it's
show.
they're showcasing like competition barbecue and what it's supposed to be, not fabricated, not dramatic. It's supposed to be the real, kind of like old Pitmasters was the
Yeah.
first season or whatever they did. Michael Simon, and
Yeah.
he an Iron Chef.
I think so. Yeah.
So he's one of those Food Network guys. He's the one hosting it, going around to these different contests. So check it out. It comes on Food Network. I don't know what day. Do you?
When I
probably
was
on
pulling it
demand.
up, getting some information, the next airing, I guess they're going to play all the episodes on this Saturday, August
Yeah.
13th. So I figured we'd set it up to record.
There you go.
But I watched the little trailer, and it was like I saw U-Bonds, Fergalicious, The Shed,
on there, yeah.
Sugar Fire, Slaps. So a bunch of people we recognized, yeah.
Mark said he heard they were going to be at the Jack filming.
Oh,
So
really?
that'd be
That's
interesting.
cool.
That's how a lot of those shows used to be on Food Network. They would really show what the contest was like. We got a chance to be on one in 06, was it?
Yep.
It was a Food Network show about Memphis and May, and it was 3 teams.
It might have been 07. It was
Who was
06
it?
or 07.
It was 07. They followed
They followed Red Hot Smokers,
and Myron
Myron,
and us.
and you.
That was interesting. We didn't know what we were doing. did we?
I want people to go back and find that somewhere.
I make all the new employees watch it.
Really?
Yep, it's on the Killer Hogs YouTube channel.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
It's like our foundation story. It's like, just watch that.
This is what you need to watch first. Came a long way.
I bet you look young. Does he look young?
Yep, no beard. Waylon looks so different. It's crazy. It's a really cool though. It is cool to see like behind the scenes because just because I've experienced it more recently, like what it was like for y'all then versus now. So
A little more partying back then.
They did.
Just a touch. Smidge, you would say.
there's only like one scene where it kind of shows like inside the tent or
What it's
whatever,
like at
everybody's
night.
partying and stuff. But yeah, I'm sure there was much more.
I don't even think that was our party
I don't know. There was some
that
good
they
ones
got
that
the
year.
footage of. I mean, they got footage of our party. I don't know. Might not could have used it.
Might not could have. Might not have been rated for Food Network.
But anyway, that's pretty cool. We'll watch that show and talk about it a little more next time.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to check it out. I have to get it recorded. So.
It just started in July, like a few weeks ago. So
Yeah, no, I've been seeing people post about it. I didn't think to go set it up to record.
So I got an email talking about competitions. And I've had a lot of people asking this. They're new to competitions. They want to get started in competitions, but they kind of want a little advice. And I'll say competitions are a lot of fun. They're like super fun if you do like less than 6 a year. 6 or less a year, I would
You're
say.
no more. You're not a team of the year type person.
No.
I'm not either.
It's-
I've done a bunch. Like we did 22 one year, and that wasn't even like. Even back then, that wasn't a lot.
I thought it was
like,
closer
y'all
to-
only did 22.
yeah.
Yeah. That's it. I mean, to me, it was like every weekend. It felt like
That's like once every other week, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is the way they fall. It sounds great. If there's one every other week, I was like, yeah, I'd probably do that. Gives me a week to catch up, get some other stuff done, do a contest. But a lot of them, it's like we did 8 in a row,
Yeah.
like every weekend for 8 weeks, because they don't fall to where they're spread out. I mean, it's like when they have them, it's bam, bam, bam.
And you're
So-
traveling a lot. So it's not like it's local.
Yeah.
Most times you're driving, you're staying in crappy hotels,
It's a
you're using Porta Johns. I quit the team multiple times.
multiple times.
Multiple times.
She would quit every trip home. If we had longer than a 3-hour drive, that's it. I'm done. Y'all can do it. I'm not. I quit the team.
She take her plants.
We
with
just
her.
got used to it. Yeah, she take her ficus trees and nope, can't use them anymore. See if y'all need my help. Y'all wouldn't listen to what I said.
Unless we won.
This is
then
all
we-
true. Yeah, then you would. Oh well. See, y'all listened.
I remember there was one time it was a hot, long day. We didn't do well. We got lost on the way home. Like I thought we were fixing to be home, and I look up and I say, "Welcome to Alabama," and I just started crying.
We're going the opposite way. We're going east. We're going west.
It's like, I quit this team.
How we missed that turn? I'm just going for the ride
No.
at that point.
But anyway, they're a lot of fun. It's almost like a tailgate, but better.
Yeah, that's the best way. I mean, that's a good way to describe it.
All right.
That's the way it used to be.
Yeah.
It kind of competition barbecue kind of, is different. It's gotten to be where you had to have the more money you had, the more better stuff you could buy, the better chance you had, I guess. So that kind of takes the aspect away from the fun side of it.
But there's a lot of popping up.
But it's
locally.
changed. It's what you want to put into it. If you just want to go and cook and have a good time, you could do that. If you want to spend all the money and try to chase points, you can do that.
Yeah.
It's kind of up to you.
That's very true. So this contest is Jeremy. He emailed in. This contest is happening 1st of October in Illinois. It's a contest where he's cooking pulled pork ribs and chicken, and they're supplying the meat.
Awesome.
So,
I like those.
yeah.
Everybody's on the even playing field.
So he's getting 2 Boston butts, 4 racks of baby backs, and chicken thighs.
How long does he get to cook? That's the biggest question on those.
Setting up at 5 a.m. Chef's meeting at 6:30. They begin cooking at 7. They got to turn in chicken at 2, ribs turning at 3:30, and pulled porks at 5.
That's plenty of time to do it. You don't have to rush not rush the pork, but you ain't going to be able to cook it super slow.
You're going to have to get it on.
But I like those one-day cooks.
Yeah, that's another good thing,
Yeah.
too. So he's using a Camp Chef and a Rectech.
Both Pellet Grills.
Both Pellet Grills, yeah.
Yeah. What was the question?
He's thinking to use the Rectech to cook the butts, Camp Chef for ribs and chicken, but he's open to suggestion.
That's what I would do.
So what would you do?
I'd get some smoke on those butts as quick as I could,
Like,
and then get them.
as soon as you get the butts, get them on?
Yeah, get them. Have that pellet grill hot. That's the first thing I'd do when I got there. I'd turn it on and get it rolling. But you got to, want.
What are you talking about? 250, 275?
Yeah, I like to start them out lower on a pellet grill to get some more smoke flavor, but it is what it is. So you got basically 8 hours to get them done. Sound like so, maybe a little more than 8. But by the time you get everything going, so you could do it. I'd trim the butt down some. I'd trim it down some. I'd want it to be 6.5, 7 pounds at the biggest if I'm cooking it that long.
Where would you trim from?
I'd take it off the sides. Make sure.
Leave that money muscle.
I'd take some of that meat off the bottom of it. The opposite of the skin side, the fat side. I'd cut some of that meat out that I know I'm not gonna use, and I'd concentrate on the best muscles in that butt. You could even speed it up more by deboning it, kind of opening it up, and then setting the money muscles on top and having the other muscles laid out there and concentrate on those too. That's going to speed it up. But I'd get some seasoning on it, get some smoke on it. It's going to take 2 or 3 hours to get some smoke on it. Then get that dude wrapped up and get it tender, and then I'd get it to where I could hold it. Since I'm cooking it faster, I'm going to run it up a little bit hotter than normal.
So what's that?
It's going to be that 205, 210 range, probably internal. I'd watch my money muscle, just don't overcook it. If the contest will allow, I'd separate it when it got to be time. I hadn't done enough of these KCBS contests where you can cook just the money muscle.
This one can't be a KCBS if they're providing meat.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's anything goes on that. So that's what I'd do. I'd lay it out and get that done and watch my internal temps and hold it.
When you say hold it, you're saying when it hits 205, put it in a dry cooler or
Cambro, get it insulated cooler. With
what would be your ideal hold time? Like
I'd like to have at least an hour, 2 preferably. I don't know if he's going to have that in a day like that, but he might, and then get it back out in time to get a little glaze on it and get it boxed up and then turned in.
How would you do your ribs and your chicken? Your chicken's going
I'd
at
fire
2,
up that Camp
ribs
Chef.
at 3:30.
Chicken's no problem. It's only going to take, you're only going to give yourself 2 hours to cook the chicken, and you don't have to really hold it. So chicken's no problem. I would probably get my ribs done and then hold them a little bit, assuming they're cooking probably spare ribs. So
They're baby backs.
Oh, they're baby backs?
Mm-hmm.
I still like to hold them at least an hour. So I'd get those. I'd concentrate. I'd have my ribs timed to where they were almost getting there before I ever hit chicken, ever hit the grill, and then I'd hold those ribs, fire up that temp, because when I'm cooking chicken on a pellet grill, I like to cook it at least, 300 at least. And
So
the
you're
ribs,
saying-
I'm probably going to cook at 275. So I want to crank that grill up a little bit when the ribs are, about done or coming off, and then my chicken's going on. And I'm cooking chicken thighs. I've got them trimmed up.
So you're saying
I would trim chicken last. I'd get my butts on, get my ribs squared up, seasoned up, whatever I'm doing to them, put them back in the cooler, let them hang out till rib time. What time was his rib turn in?
see chicken's at 2 and ribs at 3:30.
Ribs would probably be on. I'd give myself 6.5 hours for ribs. So back that off at 3:30, or back that off at 3. That gives me 30 minutes to build. What's that? 3. What's that? 9. So about 8:30 ribs should be getting to go on. Really though, probably by the time you get the butts on, the
It'll be
ribs
time
probably
to-
be time to get out and sit out and come to room temp. And once I get them on, it's just go straight to chicken. Get my chicken trimmed, get it seasoned and hold, and then pull it out of the cooler a little bit before right when the ribs get done, and chicken needs to hit the grill.
So you,
Chicken will be
you're
hitting,
gonna
my
hold
chicken
your
will be hitting the
ribs-
grill about 11:45.
So you're gonna hold your ribs for that hour essentially.
Yeah.
2
That'd be
hours.
gold. That'd be
hour, 2 hours.
while the
Yeah.
chicken cooks. The chicken's going to need it. If you got that grill at 300, the chicken will need, probably about an hour in the smoke, and
15
then 30, 45 in the wrap, covered up, and then take it off and glaze it and turn it in. So,
And then you pull your ribs out and sauce
and then
them.
sauce them, put them back on, just tighten that, put them back on the pit, tighten that up a little bit, cut them, get them in the box, and then it's on to building the pork box.
I hope this guy has a schedule built out after this.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. That was a lot,
That was a
It
lot.
was great.
No, I think that kind of.
but it's very doable in that timeline.
Yeah, especially when you get the ribs done ahead of time and let them hold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could push them and you could slow that chicken down. I just think your skin's going to be better if you cook it at 300 or a little over, and then keep your ribs at 275.
And y'all have become real big fans of holding ribs for comps anyway.
Yeah. I
Y'all
think
swear
it
they
makes
make it better.
I think
Yeah.
it does.
So, have you seen that the Traeger has a new bold pellet? Have you noticed that?
No, is it like these flavored pellets where they've got,
Yeah, you've got some. Have you used
I
them?
hadn't used them.
Okay.
Yeah. I think they sent me a bag. I hadn't used them yet.
I opened up a bag the other day.
What did it have? Like onion
It
flakes
was like
and
rosemary.
and
salt.
yeah.
Yeah.
See, did you cook with those or did you just open them?
No, I cooked with them.
Oh, I was going to save those for
Couldn't.
Thanksgiving. You couldn't tell.
Tell a lick of difference.
We would take dehydrated onion flake and add to our pellet hopper when I was cooking on Yoder's, because we always, our contest cooking, MBN style and Memphis and May style, we would burn onions and garlics in our coal bed along with the wood to give us more aromatics, to get that. And I said, it's got to be it's mixing with the smoke. It smells dang good while it's doing it. Why not use that philosophy over on a pellet grill?
Yeah.
And so we were adding stuff to the pellet grill, way before they come out with blends that did it.
Yeah. Is that
And
safe?
Kingsford has some too.
Yeah, they do.
They have a bunch of different stuff in their pellets that, it's probably just filler. Way to market it,
Yeah.
sell it more expensive to you.
It was pretty
But
strong when I
does it
opened
work? Yeah, the scent of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just talking to Tyler.
Can you taste the difference?
No.
That's a question to test out.
I
See if you had a group of people and you cooked, you had a control, and then you use these other pellets, and tell me what you think the flavor is from the smoke. See
pick
if you can do it.
yeah.
Use
match-
a neutral seasoning, maybe just salt, and then smoked environment, controlled temp on everything. See if you could tell. Same kind of grills, just change the pellets out. I don't think you could.
I don't
think I
think you
I
could
could.
think you could.
I don't think I could,
I think
especially when you're
all the
using
same.
rubs and sauces and all this other
Yeah.
stuff. Could you tell?
I can't tell. And maybe I don't pick up on those subtle
Yeah.
flavors. I can't tell any
I don't
difference.
think I could tell.
From brand to brand to flavor to flavor.
The only thing I can tell is which ones burn decent, which ones produce less ash, and which ones, seem to run through my pellet grill better.
Yeah.
And there's not a whole lot of difference. I'm not buying the fact that there's all these different pellet companies with different machines making all these pellets.
You think it's
Yeah,
all being made like it?
I think there's only a few, and they're probably relabeling a bunch of them. Who knows? I mean, you think of charcoal. There's not that many different charcoal. You say, I mean, there's all kinds of brands of charcoal, but they're probably only made at a few places. They just relabel. I know Kingsford and Royal Oak, I guarantee you do. You know, make a bunch of different brands.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Stores will make their own brand. I mean, you look at all like the old Diz and all those old ones, you know, that you used to see. That was just Royal Oak, you know.
I do like Traeger's new pellet bag. They have like a little spot where it's easy
open. You don't have to use your teeth anymore.
Yeah. And they've got like a resealable.
Yeah. We've brought this brand called Bear Mountain into the shop, you know, along with, we sell Traeger pellets, we sell the Royal Oak charcoal pellet, all charcoal, and we sell these Bear Mountains now. And I really like the Bear Mountains. They're good pellets. They're a little bit bigger pellet. Now, it does look like it's manufactured at a different place than Traeger's are, and Barbecue's Delight and things like that, because it's just a fatter pellet.
Oh, it's a whole different shape.
Yeah. Their extruder looks different, but I don't know.
That's cool.
I could be completely off base. This could be just, you know, conspiracy theory I'm thinking, but I just don't think there's that many different people making pellets.
So
Prove me wrong.
Yeah, you're just paying for the name or whatever.
I don't know where. I mean, I don't have no idea where pellet. I know Barbecue's Delight's over in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and they make a bunch, and I've heard they've relabeled before, and I know that there's several brands that they made. So
I'm with you.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I mean,
I just don't think that there's.
I may have a charcoal one day. I'm not going to buy a charcoal plant. You know,
I just don't think there's a reason to clean your hopper to, you know, like, well, I got to pull the cherry pellets out and put the hickory pellets in.
Yeah,
you know?
I'd never do that.
Just run them.
When I talk about these pellet dumps and people getting hung up on grills not having a pellet clean out, I could see having the pellet clean out for when you want to clean the grill, like you want to clean your hopper, vacuum it all out, get all the whatever dust is in there out. But to change out flavors of pellets, because I think this chicken's going to taste different than these ribs or something, you would never, I don't think you'd know.
They're all the same.
They're all the same. That's your theory. Shell's saying they're all the same.
So it's like super
they have different they do
like
use
all the
different woods. But a lot of these pellets, you got to think the base pellet, it's a hardwood. So it could be oak, it could be hickory, it's a combination of. That's usually the base of them. And then when they do add stuff for, like, you know, unless it says 100% cherry wood pellet, it's a combination. So they're all like a blend, you know.
I don't even know.
And Traeger was even, they had a lot of people, I don't know if it was, they had to address it or not, but they were using some kind of a wood flavored oil or something on their pellets to be able to call them like maple and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah, they had a whole thing about that. And I don't know whatever happened of it, but I'm sure these companies still do it. I know when they used to make the Jack Daniels pellets, I think they'd pour a little Jack Daniels in there. Like when you open it up, you can smell it. They were spraying the pellets with a little bit of Jack Daniels before they bagged them.
Do they not make those anymore?
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I'll try it.
We used to.
I've cooked with them. Can you tell that? No. You can smell it, but you can't tell it's been cooked with. Oh, that's been cooked with Jack Daniels pellets.
It's good party conversation.
That's right.
Go get my Jack Daniels pellets.
Now, we'll say, like, you take the charcoal pellet versus wood pellet, you're not going to get the wood flavor from those charcoal pellets like you do wood pellets, but you get the heat, you get, you know, longer burn times, it gets the grill hotter faster, the charcoal pellets do, and they don't absorb moisture, where some of my pellets, if I leave them sitting out and forget them, they're going to start they're like a sponge. Any moisture around, they're going to draw it.
Heck yeah. So, that's kind of what they're used for in some applications.
They use some pine pellets for bedding, or just, I guess, crap wood that they can't use for cooking fuel or house fuel. Fuel, they'll use them for bedding.
That would be a good experiment. You'd have to get the same, like, 3 grills.
You have the same grill, same temperature, same food. Just change the pellets and see if you could. And maybe we'll have to come back and we'll have to address this again and take everything back we're saying.
Just kidding, y'all.
I need to get some pellet people in here and get them tell us about it.
Yeah.
See what they say. They can get multiple ones at the same time so they can argue.
We can just sit back, take a week off.
Yeah. Pellet roundtable discussion.
I did see on the community someone had posted barbecue for breakfast. Has anybody ever had barbecue for
Heck
breakfast?
yeah.
So what are all the ways you've had barbecue for breakfast?
Man, pulled pork goes great. Like I season it with my sausage seasoning and serve it like I'll make biscuits, make some gravy, pulled pork, like do a fried egg over a biscuit with a big pile of pulled pork on it. It's been, I mean, it could be cooked with barbecue seasoning, but it's really good with sausage seasoning on the outside and brown sugar. Pulled over an egg with that gravy over it. You talk about, man,
It's really good.
that's a country eggs Benedict. It is really good.
You've done it before with
Barbecue. I've done it with omelets. I mean, put brisket in omelets.
Heck, brisket tacos. Bucky sells
Brisket
millions
tacos.
of
Yeah,
them.
yeah. And pulled pork, brisket, whatever you want to put in it. I don't think I've ever had like barbecue chicken for breakfast,
I don't think so.
but I have had ribs. I have had ribs done with the sausage seasoning and served for breakfast. They're
Really?
good. Yeah. they're
On the
really good.
bone?
Yeah, on the bone. There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm sure there's a barbecue chicken and waffles out there or something like
Oh
that.
yeah,
I'm
that'd be
sure.
a good one.
That would be a good one. I've done them. I've done that.
Yeah, but you use cornbread waffles.
Yeah. Instead of
It was like a blue cheese cornbread waffle or something. It was
it was really good.
fire. Yeah.
It's been a long time. I bought a waffle maker just to make that recipe. I don't think I've used it since.
Michael used it one time.
But it was a piece of barbecue chicken, grilled chicken with barbecue sauce over a cornbread waffle, blue cheese waffle
I think that's what it
with
was.
sauce.
Yeah.
And it was good.
I mean,
What are some things? I mean, smoked sausage definitely for breakfast.
oh yeah, smoked sausage on biscuit.
Barbecue bologna for breakfast all day.
You
I
could
mean-
probably do like breakfast burritos, like with
All-
pulled
Heck
pork
yeah.
brisket.
all day. Yeah.
I mean,
Hash
When
browns
you-
with pulled pork.
when you're doing all
eggs
these
and all that mixed
contests like
up.
we used to, a lot of times you eat just
Yeah. Whatever.
you've
yeah.
eaten barbecue.
I've had barbecue
Kolaches.
nachos for breakfast.
Yeah.
with,
Kolaches.
I had a barbecue
Kolaches
sandwich.
is like a pastry with the smoked sausage in the middle of it. I love those. It's like, think of like pigs in a blanket.
But a
What was-
big, delicious,
Yeah.
more delicious version.
Yeah, a donut without the sweetness, basically stuffed with the piece of smoked sausage,
Get the spicy ones. Spicy.
jalapeno and cheese. Bucky's has some.
They're not
our
as
donut
good
shops do
as
them
our
here in
donut
town.
shop. Yeah.
I don't know, there's something about the way the donut shops do them. Man, they got it figured out.
The crust or the pastry around the sausage is so light and fluffy, and
Yeah,
that sausage is so greasy and spicy.
I mean, I like
so
their breakfast
good.
casserole, so you can use you could use your barbecue and breakfast casseroles however you
Yeah.
want, and it's pretty much just an egg casserole.
You've done a lot. When we had quarantine, you did some breakfast. I don't know what we're called.
Sandwiches.
Stay in cookout or something like that.
Yeah, I did little breakfast sandwiches like on the grill where I grilled the sausage and
Like a live stream
Did
or
the
something
egg,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
candied bacon you do on the smoker goes great when you're doing breakfast stuff. I mean, there's all kinds of things you could do. You could use the barbecue or grill, the pit or grill for breakfast.
So don't let anybody ever
And a
tell
flat top,
you
yeah.
barbecue ain't for breakfast.
That's right. Who tells you that? I don't know what they're talking about.
When we did the Royal Oak thing, the shoot with them, didn't you do something on like the Outlaw, like little sausage, and you did the raspberry chipotle honey
Oh
hog?
yeah, that was
Sausage
a
cheese
good.
Blues
balls. Was it?
No, it was like
Yeah,
sliced.
smoked fatty sausage basically.
Yeah.
You just take bulk sausage and form it into like a meatloaf basically, or just take it right out of the wrapper if you buy at the grocery store, season it up, smoke it on the pit till it's 165, and then put it on the little biscuits, Hawaiian roll sliders. Top it with, like you said, any kind of jam or jelly or pepper jelly or
You used
raspberry chipotle blues hog.
Yep, that's what
Yeah.
you used.
Makes it really good. And
And
put
you
a little piece of cheese on it and let it melt. Yeah,
That's a tailgate breakfast food.
it really is. Sausage and cheese balls on the pit are one thing I like to do too.
What are those things that we had somebody that we used to cook with? They'd bring it to us every Saturday morning. It was like
It's boudin
Like,
bread.
no, it was
Oh,
like
oh.
an egg with something, a Scotch egg maybe, with some meat wrapped around it, and they would smoke the whole thing.
Yeah.
Was it
It's a boiled egg.
It was a boiled egg.
Yeah.
They'd wrap like sausage around.
And then bacon around that.
Yeah.
And then glaze it.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, is that really? I guess that could be breakfast. I guess it would be.
They'd bring it over for breakfast.
Yeah.
What did Boudin Brad used to bring?
Boudin kolaches.
They were so
They were
good.
so good. Yeah.
He makes a Boudin king cake. Is he the one that makes the boudin king cake?
I think he does sell boudin king cakes. He's got a little shop, meat shop down in Louisiana. Except it's called Ronnie's Boudins in Cracklin. If you're in Louisiana, I think he's got two. He had two places. I don't know if he still does or not. But they were excellent. If you ever see him at a barbecue contest, we still is cooking them, asking for a kolache, boudin kolache. He told me he had a lady that come in and made those for him, like a boudin lady or a bakery lady. Like that was her specialty.
I need a boudin lady.
Who don't? Who don't?
Well, Malk, that's all I have for today.
Hey, yeah, we're got some more recipes we'll be working on coming up. I got to go film some TikTok recipes tomorrow.
What you got in mind? Anything?
Yeah, I got a few things in mind. I've been wanting to. Everybody's been doing these shotgun shells. I hadn't done those yet.
Yeah,
I've been thinking about doing some of those.
You keep telling me you're going to do jerk chicken.
Yeah, jerk chicken was on my radar to do it. I've never done TikTok on that. I want to do that salmon recipe, but do it on the pellet grill. See if it turns out as good as it did when I air fried it. And then I've got a watermelon crawl drink. And thinking about doing a TikTok on.
I think that's a great name.
I do too. I'm sure there's all kinds of watermelon crawl drinks. It has to be. How could there not be? They're probably shots, but I want to do a drink. It's going to be very similar to my watermelon margarita. I just hadn't decided if I'm going to use
what booze?
tequila or vodka.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of watermelon crawls.
Vodka would be delicious.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Thinking vodka on that one. Some Tito's, some fresh watermelon juice, a little Simply watermelon, maybe a little pucker.
Or mint. Or lime.
You could add some lime to it, yeah, for sure. Fresh lime juice.
Or is it just going to be the sweet?
No. I'm probably going to, it's going to have a little sweet, sour, knock you on the floor type drink that you won't even know. Before you know it, you'll be crawling for the door.
I like those.
But yeah, that's it. Tyler, what else you got going on, man?
Make sure you guys join our Let's Get to Cooking community page on Facebook, and that's where we get a lot of these questions that Shell asks on the podcast. If you guys haven't already, make sure you guys download the How to Barbecue Right app, where all of Malcolm's favorite recipes are located, as well as HowToBBQRight.com.
All right, Shell, where can they find us if they don't know?
If you'd like to connect with Malcolm, it's HowToBBQRight on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and of course YouTube. If you'd like to connect with me, it's Miss Southern Shell on Instagram.
Hey, well, that's going to do it for us on this episode of How to Barbecue Right, the podcast. We will be back next week for another episode. Appreciate y'all tuning in, and we'll see you next week. We gone.